Hi, I'm Emma. I'm the Conservation Area Manager for North East Essex with Essex Wildlife Trust.
And my name is Katie Goldsbrough and I am the Ranger at Abberton Reservoir, also with Essex Wildlife Trust. Many people face challenges working within the conservation sector, but because it's International Women's Day, we are here today to talk about what it's like being a woman working within practical conservation. So what do you think are the challenges facing women working within the practical conservation sector?
I think the most obvious one is when you're working somewhere remote like a salt marsh or wet grassland and you need to find a bush to use for the bathroom.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there, especially if you're working with other people in like a work party like we are today, finding the time to just slip off and do it, yeah, it's quite difficult.
And I don't know if you're like me, but when I'm somewhere like that, I'm very conscious about the amount of people that have got binoculars around.
For me, finding like PPE and clothing for doing like chainsawing, etc. is quite difficult to find that actually fits like a woman's shape. So trousers, I find, it's not so much the sizing sometimes, but it's just the way that it fits around you, and finding small enough shoes and work boots and chainsaw boots for small size feet, which, you know, women tend to have smaller feet than men, and gloves as well. Do you think that there is a challenge with machinery as well, actually using the machinery?
They're typically modelled on a man's dimensions in terms of heights and weight. Not a complete barrier, but it's definitely a challenge.
Do you think there are preconceived ideas about people that work in conservation?
I think so. When I joined the conservation sector 12 years ago, and I would go out with a male colleague and talk to landowners, quite often they would defer to him. I don't think it was a conscious choice, but it was just the man in charge. But I do think that's changing. I think the more people see women in conservation doing practical work, the more we break those stereotypes, the more attitudes change, I think, towards us. I certainly don't experience that bias from anyone within the organisation.
Yeah, same, and volunteers as well. They are amazing.
Here's an interesting one. Being blonde. Does it add an extra layer to the question?
I think so too. Well, there's a stereotype around being blonde anyway, I think, but especially being blonde and handling power tools. I've had a few comments in the past which just brush off, but I can imagine you have as well.
Same.
Same with appearance, so wearing makeup, having your nails painted, things like that. And I just don't think that what you look like has no impact on your ability to make a difference to wildlife. Whether I came dressed in a black bag or whether I came dressed up in my chainsaw gear, I'd still be able to do the job because my ability is there.
Absolutely. All that matters is that we wear the right protective clothing.
Yes.
Whether that's
not a bin bag.
Yeah, not a bin bag, not a bin bag. But whether that's pink or black or brown doesn't actually matter. In fact, I think it's quite a good thing to have that sort of diversity of image and colour within an organisation. What advice would you give to a woman wanting to work in the conservation sector?
I would say you can do it, because anyone can do what they put their mind to. It's so inspiring for women to know that these things exist, but there is people out there who can help you face them, and you can do the job if you want to, and you shouldn't let these things hold you back.
Right, the more people that are open and communicate and face the challenges and push through those challenges, the easier it will be, I'd like to think, for the next wave of young female conservationists coming through. The important thing, isn't it, is to recognise that you're not on your own.
Yes.
You're part of a network or a community within your organisation and within the whole sector.
For women of all ages to see these roles and people doing these jobs and think, oh, I want to do that, because it doesn't matter whether it's the start of your career or even, you know, most of our volunteers are retired at the end.
Yeah.
You can all make such a positive difference and then do what you put your mind to.
Lead by example.
Exactly.